There's no point in going through life like you're living a lie. And that's why today we're going to talk about how to show up in all spaces as your authentic self and how to figure out what that even means and who that even is. I don't talk about this enough. Like, I spent a lot of time on my channel talking about fitness and things like that, but who you are and who you think you are and how you think about who that is determines everything. Like, it determines how you look at the world, determines how you interact with the world, how you talk to people, how you feel about people, because a lot of our interactions are based off of the reflection that we see of ourselves and others. That's why that saying is people that don't like you, it's because they see something in you that they see in themselves that they don't like. I don't necessarily agree with that, but because we're all connected in some way, we see each other as reflections of ourselves. He's so hot. It's piping today, okay? By the way, Merry Christmas. It's not Christmas yet, but it's the holiday season, okay? November 1st has been passed. We need to get into it, guys. If you're not in it, what are you doing, fam? Like, where are you at? All right, so there's a lot that goes into figuring out who you are, and it takes time. Like, I didn't get to this point in 2 days, in 2 months, in 2 years even. I've been working at this for a long time. I had not an epiphany when I was younger, but I realized that I did not like who I was. I didn't like my body. I didn't like my personality at the time. I, wanted to be a different person, and it took a while for me to get here, and I did it alone. But you don't have to, because it is a lonely journey. I'm someone that believes that actions speak louder than words, and so I don't like to go around talking about how much I'm growing. Even if I do it, it makes me feel icky because I'm like, if I was really growing, I'd have proof in the pudding, And if you're like that, you are probably, if you're already trying to improve yourself, which I assume you are because you clicked on this video, you might be experiencing that same thing of that loneliness because you feel like you can't share your journey with anyone else. But you can share it with me, and I'm here to share mine with you. I'm not just going to talk about myself in this video because you came here for advice. So we're going to get into what I can do for you, how I can help you figure out who you are and live in that truth, get closer to who you really are, and enjoy your life as that person, okay? First things first, we are going to accept where we are right now, okay? I'm not saying if you have some disgusting habits that you really want to kick, to keep them. Not necessarily. I'm talking about just the things about your life, okay? Your financial situation, the friends that you have, the family you have, the body you have, the face you have, the job that you have, the personality that you have, the lifestyle that you have in some way. This step is about acceptance because what I want you to do is romanticize what makes you different. Now, what makes you different is gonna be probably some of the things that you look at as some of your biggest flaws. One thing that I used to think was a huge flaw and was the reason why people didn't like me was the fact that I wasn't a social butterfly. That was my big thing. And when I was younger, I know people are talking a lot about introverts now and Myers-Briggs personality test, 16 personalities, all that stuff, and oh, I'm a homebody, whatever. That stuff wasn't cutesy and quirky back in 2010, okay? It wasn't cute. It made you an outcast, all right? Like, if you weren't the center of attention or you weren't respecting the center of attention, you weren't a part of the group. That's how it was for me, and it completely changed the way I saw myself. It made things really hard for me for a long time. And eventually I realized, you know what? If I'm going to be treated as different because I'm different anyway, I might as well, really hone in on what makes me different and make that a big part of my personality, which is what I did. And it made a difference. I still do it to this day. I know some people sometimes, it saved my life. Romanticize what makes you different. If you feel like your nose that you're born with is like, oh my God, my nose, I hate my nose. Start gassing up that nose. I'm being so for real. I used to really not like my nose. No one else in my family has this nose. Everyone else has like a slope or just like a straight line. For me, it pops out a little. And I really didn't like that when I was younger. Decided to embrace it. I didn't like how oily my skin was. Decided to embrace it. I was like, you know what? People with oily skin age really well. Embrace that. I used to not like my skin color or my hair. Now I gas it up. Only Black women have hair like this. Black people have hair like this. We're one of a kind. Gas it up. I'm telling you, bro, if you start to create this like, I'm the only one with this and that makes me special, instead of weird, you're special. It makes a difference. And it takes a while to get used to this. It takes practice, but stick to it, okay? Find people that have those same characteristics that are doing what I'm talking about, romanticizing it. And every day with like just your regular life, not just your uniqueness, but just the things that you're doing right now, romanticize them, Like, say for example, you have a good habit of journaling or reading, or you're really diligent when it comes to keeping up with your favorite TV show. That can be something that you romanticize, like, wow, it's rare to find people that are this into The Office and this into Hanasakuri Seishonen. I know a lot of people don't know that anime. Or this into like BL writing, and I'm very much into writing and art, and that's like my whole thing. Hone in on that. You need to start celebrating yourself. It's gonna change the way you look at who you are. And you have to be your biggest biggest supporter, okay? Because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, a lot of us were not taught to celebrate other people's successes and other people's things that make other people special. We're taught to compete, but that shouldn't deter you. Really make it so that your opinion matters the most, because it should be, and it is the one that matters the most. Even though it seems like the way other people look at you is what matters the most to you because that's what you're convincing yourself of, really it's the perception of what they think of you that matters to you. It's your perception of what they think that matters. It's all back to you. So now that we've started to gas up the things that make us different, I really need you to bask in the things that you're good at. Take some time. You can pause this video and come back to me, or you can keep watching through and then do this later on. But I want you to take at least 5 minutes, get a pen and paper, get a notepad, get your notes app on your phone, wherever you're writing down your notes, and take 5 minutes and write down what you're good at. It might be hard to think of because if you're anything like me, and especially like I was, your first instinct a lot of times is to criticize yourself. I've gotten a lot better at it, but I do have my times when I slip up, and that's okay. This is why we're here. We're getting better at this. Take all the time you need and write down at least 3 things that you're really good at. Like I said, it can be that you are really consistent when it comes to watching a show. People get paid for reviewing TV shows and movies, so that can be the thing that you're good at. It can be that you are really good at running, art, writing, science, math, whatever it is. Find what you're good at, and not in comparison to other people, because there's always gonna be someone that's better than you at something. Just from your point of view, what are you good at? Please, like, you can find something, okay? This isn't the time to degrade yourself. Find something, even if it's you just started learning French or Japanese or whatever it is. You can find at least one thing. Maybe you're really good at breathing, I don't know. Find something, write it down. We've passed some of the tips that have to do with your really internal work. And now we're gonna get into some of the things that have to do with how you interact with other people, because when you start to step into who you really are, it's not gonna be easy for people to handle, especially when you start to become confident. It's easier to tell someone who they are when you're insecure than to stand in who you are confidently while they stand in who they are confidently. You interact with each other with respect, and you don't try to change the other person. They don't have to do anything specific for you to be comfortable with who you are. And a lot of people are not at that place. So they will fight back against you figuring out who you are and loving that and honing in on that, okay? And stepping into that. So you need to be okay with conflict. The issue a lot of people have when it comes to being their true selves, being their authentic selves, one of the biggest reasons why, in my opinion, people don't usually figure that out is because they're worried about what other people think and they want to please other people. People that avoid conversations about things that they're passionate about because I don't ruffle any feathers. They don't say what they mean. They don't stand up for themselves. They don't stand up for others. They have surface level friendships because, you know, it's an easier way to make more friends. And they mold themselves to who the group needs at the time so that they can be liked. That stuff is what we've been taught to do. I'd say especially women. Growing up, we've been taught to be something else and to show people a good side of us so that they like us. It was never, for a long time, it hasn't been about what we need and what we want. It's been about what other people need and what other people might want from us. To go from that to not caring about what other people think, caring less, and in caring less being who you are, it's really not easy. And one thing I faced being my authentic self and figuring out who that is unapologetically is, you know, distaste from people. It's not easy to really stand in who you are and your beliefs and be like, you know what, I don't like doing this stuff. I'm not going to force myself to do that stuff because I don't care if I'm liked. People do not like that. And of course, it's not everybody. Like, I'm one of those people that, like, if you come to me, like, I can feel your energy, you're authentic, you're real. I love that. They're good people. They're people that have those good vibes out there, but it's just when you're around people that don't, you have to be okay with that because it's either them and their opinions or you and who you are and your happiness. The more you mold yourself to be this chameleon that changes for others, the less you'll recognize yourself because that story starts to become who you are, but it's not really who you are because you're not doing it for yourself, you know? It's not like you decided, okay, I'm gonna be more outgoing because I like to be social. That was one thing I tried to do, but really I didn't want to be outgoing and I was getting tired. I wanted to have close friendships with people that cared about me and knew who I was and I could be honest with, and I'm gonna keep looking for who I need in my life and who cares about me. For me, I wanted the connection. I didn't want the numbers. You know, some people do want the numbers, but if you're not a numbers person and if you're not a connections person, pretending to be either one of those things when deep down you're not, it's gonna hurt you. So just start being okay with not getting along with everybody. You cannot be friends with everyone. It's not possible. We're all multifaceted people. We're so different. And if you're avoiding talking about a serious, like, human rights issue, for example, there's a lot of stuff going on right now now because you want to get along with that guy at work or that girl that your friend is friends with? Are you sacrificing your moral beliefs and your character to be friends with somebody? You decide. But being who you are is not just about your personality. It's about your beliefs and your moral code. And that's where we really get into sticky waters when it comes to people that we want to like us, even if they're not the right people for us. If you're not ready to be okay with conflict, you might not be ready to step into who you are. No. You're doing too much. Oh my gosh, bro. I tell you, these animals be getting on my nerves sometimes. Oh my goodness. Okay. The next thing is that I need you to understand that people trying to compete with you has nothing to do with you. Again, we're getting back to insecurity. Insecurity controls a lot of interactions with people, and it shows up in so many different ways, like not the obvious Disney type show ways, but like just little things. People trying to one-up you in conversation and hobbies, whatever. All of a sudden they want to have all your friends. Like, oof. People trying to compete with you has nothing to do with you. There's space for everyone in this world, and this goes for you too. If you try to compete with people, you know deep down that it's not about them, it's about you. One thing that I think a lot of us weren't taught to do as kids is when we see something in someone that we like, we can also become that, and we can ask them how they're doing it, or we can admire them for that. They are not our competition, because there's space for everybody. And when people are trying to compete with you, they don't have that understanding that there's space for everyone. Competition can get really toxic, and you don't have to interact with these people. You don't have to like spend time with them. You don't have to make space for them in your life. It's not your problem. It's not your job to save everyone and to counsel everyone and bring them over to videos like this maybe and be like, hey, you know, I know you're struggling, da da da. It's a ploy to make you feel less than because they feel less than, and you're letting them win by feeling that way. You have control over your emotions. A lot of times we're so used to reacting that we think we're just feeling feelings and that's how it is. But the next time someone's trying to compete with you, say for example, you're talking about how well you did on a review for work or like an exam or something, and your friend is like,
oh, you got a 90? I got a 97.
Instead of celebrating, you're like, oh, your score's not even that great. Instead of reacting, feeling sad, feeling less than, feeling hurt, whatever, remember this. Them competing with you has nothing to do with you. And chill, relax. Either this person's gonna stop doing that, or they're gonna disappear from your life, or they're gonna start to lash out because they're realizing that they feel inadequate and you're not reacting. Let them go. You have bigger fish to fry. You're trying to become your best authentic self. And this is one of my last things I want to talk about on this. It's been a shorter video today, but I just wanted to get down to the nitty gritty and really get into this topic, and we'll talk about this another time. One of my last tips today is for you to ignore the people that are trying to get you to conform. These ones are dangerous, okay? Not necessarily like bodily or like fatally, but they can really throw a wrench into your growth and into your journey. Okay, so I'm gonna give my like personal experiences, and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I do think that this will really help. So for me, I'm not someone that really likes the nightlife scene, okay? I don't really like clubbing. I've never really been clubbing. I'm not a huge fan of partying. I don't really drink that. I rarely drink. Maybe like 3 times a year I'll drink. I enjoy reading a good book, watching a good movie, good conversation. I like going out to eat with friends. I like spending time out at night with friends, you know, staying up late, but I just prefer to do it in spaces where I feel comfortable, and clubbing is not one of those spaces. So that's just me. Very much an introvert, very much a homebody. You know, used to beat myself up for that, but now I have really accepted that and I love it now, and it's a huge part of who I am, and I don't look at it as some obstacle or something I have to change. Like, I love it. I have friends that are the opposite. They love going out, they love being loud and proud and being the center of attention, clubbing and all that stuff, and drinking more frequently. I've had issues with those friends because we were in some settings where I was trying to just be who I am, be chill and relax, and I'll have a drink here and there, but I'm just, you know, observing, I'm just watching. You want to talk to me, you can, but you guys have your fun. And I was told that I was ruining the vibe. Get with the vibe, you're ruining the vibe. So for me, I was confused because I was like, we're obviously in different places in terms of what our vibe is. I'm chilling, you're having a good time, you're loud and proud, and I never once asked you to be anything different. So why are you doing that to me? A lot of times, like, people that are loud and about it and like center of attention are celebrated, while people that are introverts are not. This isn't okay. It's not something that's right. It's just how things are. For a while, I was like, okay, maybe I am the problem. Maybe I do need to be more outgoing. Maybe I have to have more energy, whatever. And then I realized, you know what? There are people that love me. There are people that vibe with me. There are people that enjoy my company. And I don't need to be this loud person and change who I am and be uncomfortable because someone decided that me being who I am makes them uncomfortable. That's not my problem. I'm not saying that people that do this are bad or whatever, or they're horrible people, which is why I specifically said ignore them. You can still have them in your life. I've told people like, hey, this is who I am. This is my energy. If you don't like that, don't invite me to these things. And they stopped inviting me to some of these things. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. We're not as close as I thought. That's fine. But there are other people out there that will love who you are, will relate to who you are. You guys will have hour-long conversations about, oh my God, like you get it, you understand how I feel. You don't have to conform to whatever the vibe vibe is, whatever the energy is, whatever the expectations are to be loved and cared for. Stick to who you are and you will find your people. Like, and it's really hard and it can be really lonely. It can be really lonely. Like, there have been times where I've wondered, if I have it all wrong, like maybe I should change something, and maybe I'm going about this the wrong way. Maybe the loud and proud way is the way to go because everyone seems to have an easy time going with that vibe, so what's wrong with me? But the reality is people have accepted that to be cared for, this is what they have to do. And even though it's not the truth, because everyone else is doing it, it seems like it's the way to go. And it's not necessarily the way to go, but it's worth it because when everyone else is out there having their fun and you're enjoying your little gathering with your group of friends or your big party, if that's what you're into, you will feel like you know what you're doing and you're genuinely happy with your decisions because you know who you are. You've made these decisions from a place of wisdom and understanding and acceptance of yourself, and no one can tell you anything because at the end of the day, you've gone through this journey with yourself. You've gotten to know yourself. You've started dating yourself and asking yourself questions, and nobody can replace the relationship you have with yourself. So I hope that everything I've said makes sense. There is so much on this topic I want to talk about, and so much about just like self-development and self-love, self-care that I want to discuss. I think the next video, we're going to talk more about other things like movies, TV shows, whatever, and we'll get back to the self-development in another video. But if you do want to hear a self-development type video or just a topic about something like that's going on or people, let me know. I have so much to say on a lot of things, so comment down below what your ideas are. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Click on that post notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. There will be one every week, and I appreciate you for being here. Get yourself a cup of tea on me, okay? Well, not really because you're making it yourself, but sip on some tea with me. You know, get yourself warm. It's the holiday season. This is a time for celebrating, time for spending time with people, and it's time to get to know yourself, okay? We have 2 months until, basically 2 months, like a month and some, until the year ends, and you have weeks to get to know yourself. I'm sending you lots of love, fam. Okay, I appreciate you for being here, and you have this, all right? You are not alone. You are not alone. There are people just like you. One thing that's helped me is looking up issue Reddit. You have this. You will find your people. I promise. Okay, I'm sending you lots of love. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, fam.